What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this needs to be said. I know that some of you guys on here worship Donald Trump like he's a god, which is totally lost on me. But what the fuck does he have on right here? This is a press conference in the Oval Office. The Oval Office where so many important decisions by presidents have been announced and addressed to the American people over this past several decades since the age of television. This is the office in which most people associate the president. This is his working. I mean, this is considered his working chambers. Now, of course, technically the entire White House is his working chambers, but especially the Oval Office. What does he have on? He doesn't have a necktie on. His shirt is unbuttoned. His coat is unbuttoned. He has a Trump was right about everything, / MAGA hat. For all we know, he might have on some red Bermuda shorts on that's out of camera view. Now, the reason why this is especially galling is because this is the same Donald Trump, along with J.D. Vance, that were castigating Zelensky for wearing something that they viewed as unbecoming in the Oval Office. So, you have to wonder, what the fuck has he got on? And then for those of you who are saying, well, why are you making such a big deal out of this? Why do you care? Well, remember, one thing I don't like about politics is hypocrisy. One thing I don't like in general is hypocrisy. Now, we all sometimes do hypocritical things, and we can have them pointed out to us. And, and sometimes you say, you know what, I am being hypocritical. I do see that, and I'm going to try to do better. But some people don't give a fuck because they have an odious intention behind their hypocrisy. And the reason why I'm doing this video is because I remember 10 years ago, Republicans being up in arms about Barack Obama wearing a tan suit. Barack Obama wore a tan suit to a press conference. I think it might have been back in 2014 or 2015, and Republicans lost their damn mind on Fox News. So many right-wing conservative pundits said that he was just completely, it was unpresidential. Presidents don't wear tan suits. Presidents wear dark blue or black suits. I really think what it was is that the tan suit brought out his brown complexion, and it enhanced his brown complexion, and that's what I think the real problem was. But that's just me. That's what I think their problem is with that situation. But I've been, like I said, I'm 45 years old, and I've been studying the American presidents since I was 7 years old. And the first thing that popped in my head was, wait a minute, what are they talking about? Presidents don't wear tan suits, because I distinctly remember as a little kid seeing Ronald Reagan wear tan suits all the time as president. As a matter of fact, he helped to popularize in the 80s tan suits again. So what the fuck were you talking about? It had nothing to do with the fact that you guys had a problem with him wearing tan suits. It's the fact that a lot of people just wanted to control Barack Obama. And also, there's some other elements involved, which I alluded to, which is what their issue was. And also, they didn't really have any real scandals to come at him with. Now, I'm not a Barack Obama fan anymore, but I know blatant racism and hypocrisy when I see it. And by the way, it wasn't just Ronald Reagan wearing a tan suit. His successor, George H.W. Bush, I think he's meeting with, that might be Margaret Thatcher, Prime Minister of Great Britain, I think it is. But George H.W. Bush sometimes wore tan suits. You know who else wore tan suits? Lyndon Johnson. Hell, Harry Truman wore a white suit. Famously or infamously, no matter how you look at it, at the 1948 Democratic Convention, I think it was in Philadelphia. That convention, the Democrats were seen as basically, I think the convention didn't come on until like 2:00 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. 1948, very, very few Americans had televisions at that time, maybe 20 or 30,000 people in the nation. But the people who did have televisions, they didn't get to see the convention until 2 a.m. Most people still listening by radio. Like I said, it didn't come on until 2 a.m. And it looked like it was it was going to be a bleak year for the Democrats. Harry Truman's approval rating was in the 30s. The economy wasn't doing very well at that time. And the Republicans looked like they were going to win that election. As a matter of fact, the Democrats were split. Remember, in 1948, the left wing of the Democratic Party split and were supporting Henry Wallace, who was the former vice president from 1941 to 45 under FDR. He had received the support of socialists and even communists, although he didn't come out and support the Communist Party. And also he had the support initially of black voters. So much so that some people thought that Henry Wallace would get almost 10 million votes in the election. And on the right, the Democratic Party split with the Dixiecrats because Harry Truman was becoming increasingly more pro-civil rights. Truman was the one that desegregated the armed forces. So they didn't like the direction of the administration. So many Southern delegates led by J. Strom Thurmond broke ranks with the Democratic Party, and they ran as Dixiecrats, and they did win 4 states. But the expectation was they might take the entire Deep South, send the election to the House of Representatives, and they could play deal maker and play kingmaker, I guess I should say, with whatever party adheres to their more conservative philosophy. The Democrats won anyway, and this election proved to the Democrats, especially the moderate liberal wing of the Democratic Party, that they could win elections without the support of the Deep South. And that led to the Democratic Party slowly becoming more broken up with the South, and also the party leadership becoming slowly more moderate to liberal over the next several decades, because they saw that they could win without conservative Southern support. And the Southern Dixiecrats, at least on the national level, some stayed Democrats. It's not necessarily totally true that the parties made this huge shift. That's not necessarily true. It's a little bit too simplistic. Many long-term Democrats stayed within the Democratic ranks because if you look at how the party leadership was at that time, the Democrats had been in office for so long because the South had been a one-party state for so long. And, House leadership, especially back then, was predicated on seniority. So they didn't want to give up their chairmanships in their party just for the sake of voting or switching to the Republican Party. So many of them stayed Democrats. And that's why on the state and local levels, many of those states who may voted for Ronald Reagan or Richard Nixon in the 70s and 80s, on the local and state level, they still stayed solidly blue until, you saw the complete eradication of the old blue dog Democrats, conservative Democrats, by the mid-2000s. Didn't think too well knew all this, did you? I think I just talk LeBron James. I just want to talk about LeBron James, man. When he did about bullshit, man, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, at the end of the day, that whole fucking tan suit shit was a farce. And, you know, this shit right here is disgusting. It is. It is. Especially for a guy that's so judgmental about everybody else. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.